Hey everyone, welcome back to Learning the Light. I'm Danielle, your everyday Christian, just trying to keep it real in the middle of the mess. I'm so glad you're hanging out with me today. Grab your coffee and let's get into it. Today we're going to be getting into something that hits really close to home for me. Today is episode 4, and I've titled it, The Cost of the Cure. Azul's trying to get settled in right next to me. Excuse the noise. Because let's be honest, we all want the healing, but we aren't always ready for the bill that comes with it. All right, let me take you back to December. Life was moving fast, holidays, cheerleading, all the things. Right around mid-December, Bella hurt her hand in tumbling class. Now, as a cheer mom, you kind of develop this internal injury meter, if you will. I looked at it. She could wiggle her fingers, she could move her wrist up and down, and it didn't look too crazy, so I did the mom assessment. I thought, okay, it's just sore, maybe she bruised it internally, we'll put a brace on it, and she'll be fine. Luckily, I had a brace from when I had tennis elbow years ago. Obviously, it was too big for her. And she was. She wore the brace, she kept going, and life moved on. Of course, she said it hurt, but she wasn't complaining too much about it. If she put pressure on it, it hurt. You know, the regular. Luckily, it wasn't her dominant hand, so she could still write. She was still doing her cartwheels because she wouldn't listen to me when I would tell her to just relax her hand. But when she did them, she would still complain it hurt a little bit. I'd keep telling her to keep the brace on and no more tumbling. She does not listen very well sometimes. So fast forward to mid-January, a whole month later. She mentioned it was still bothering her. So I finally took her to the hospital to get an x-ray. The doctor comes back and says, well, it's broken, but it's actually already healed on its own. They advised that I go to an orthopedic surgeon to get it checked out and make sure everything looks okay. Now, when she told me that it was actually broken, my mouth fell to the floor. I felt like the worst parent of all time. And I know I am not the only one who feels like that sometimes. So we had to miss school the next day and go to the orthopedic doctor. He said, it's healed perfectly. And he basically asked me, why am I even there? I was in disbelief at the way he made me feel at that moment. Like, why did I wait so long? Or why did I even bother at this point? That doctor made me feel like I was bothering him because the bone was already closed. But just because the case was closed for him didn't mean the worry was closed for me. Isn't that how we feel with our own hurt? We think if we didn't deal with it on time, we missed our chance to be whole. But Psalm 147 doesn't have an expiration date on when God will bind your wounds. That moment sat with me for weeks. I was in disbelief at how he made me feel, like I was too late or too much. And I realized we do that to ourselves with our hearts. We put on a hand-me-down brace that's too big. We keep doing cartwheels we should have paused, and then we're afraid to seek help because we think we've waited too long and it's too late. How many of us are walking around right now with a brace that's too big on a break, hoping that if we just give it enough time, it'll fix itself? Now, here's the thing. I'm not coming to you today as some Bible scholar who has had every verse memorized since I was 5. Honestly, until today, I didn't even know that this verse existed. But when I stumbled across it, while I was processing that whole mess with Bella's hand and that orthopedic doctor, it felt like it was written exactly for me. It's Psalm 147:3, and it says, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." When I first read that, it sounded nice, sure. But once I started digging into what those words actually meant in the original language, my mind was blown. I realized I've been looking at healing all wrong. First, look at the word brokenhearted. Now, I may not, full disclaimer, sorry, but I may not be pronouncing these exactly right, but I did look up the pronunciation and everything, so I hope I don't butcher them too bad. So, the word brokenhearted in the Hebrew, it's Shābar, pronounced like Shābar. And guys, it doesn't just mean you're feeling a little down. It means shattered. It's the image of a coffee mug hitting a tile floor and splintering into 1,000 tiny shards. The kind you can't even pick up with your hands because they're too small and they just hurt to touch. Kind of like Paul's thorn from last week. I don't know about you, but I've had seasons where I felt exactly like that. Just in pieces. And then the verse says, he heals them. This is the part that really changed my perspective. In the original Hebrew, that word for heals is Rāpā. Now, why does that matter? Because Rāpā is actually the same root word used for a physician or a surgeon. It's an active medical verb. It's a process. See, I think sometimes we want God to just wave a magic wand from across the room and make the pain go away instantly. But Rāpā tells us something different. It tells us that God is stepping into the room as the surgeon. He's putting on the gloves. He's looking at the x-ray of your life. And he's doing the precise, delicate work that we simply cannot do for ourselves. He isn't just wishing us well. He's taking responsibility for our recovery. But just like when I took Bella to the orthopedic doctor, you have to be in the room with the physician for the Rāpā to start. You have to let him touch the places that are tender. But this last part is what really got me, especially thinking about Bella's wrist. It says, he binds up their wounds. In the original text, that's Chābash. Back in ancient times, they didn't have these fancy plastic casts we have now. They had to use long strips of cloth, usually soaked in oil and wine, and they would wrap the injury tightly. It was called girding the wound. Think about the intimacy of that for just a second. To bind a wound, you have to be close. You can't wrap someone's hand from across the room, can you? You have to hold the hand. You have to be right there in the mess, smelling the oil, seeing the blood, and feeling the break. The orthopedic doctor made me feel like I was a bother for coming in late. But the physician in this verse, he's not annoyed by the break. He's not judging the mom assessment I failed in December. He's just sitting there on the floor with me, holding the bandages, waiting for me to let him wrap the shards back together. The cost of the cure isn't God's fee. The cost is simply our willingness to let him get that close. To take off our oversized hand-me-down brace and say, it's broken and I can't fix it by myself. Now, I want to be clear. We got so incredibly lucky. When we got to the specialist, he told us that despite my tennis elbow brace and her doing cartwheels she wasn't supposed to be doing, her hand actually healed perfectly. I can't even tell you the relief I felt in that moment. But as I sat there, I couldn't stop thinking about the what if. What if I hadn't healed it hadn't healed properly? What if it had healed in a malunion? That's the medical term for a crooked heel. Malunion. She would have been functioning, sure, but she wouldn't have had her full strength. She would have had a permanent limitation just because I didn't get her to the right physician at the right time. And that's where I want to challenge us today. Because while Bella's hand got lucky, our hearts usually aren't. When we go through a break and we just slap a brace on it and keep doing emotional cartwheels, we usually end up with that crooked heel. We end up with symptoms that we just learn to live with because we don't realize that there's a better way. Since we know that a malunion or a crooked heel is a real possibility when we don't get the right help, let's look at the signs. How do you know if you're walking around with a heart that didn't set right? I want us to do a little mobility test together. think of these symptoms that you might be walking around with a heart that was braced but never truly bound by the physician. Let's look at the weather ache. You know how people with old injuries say they can literally feel when a storm is coming in their bones, which is really weird because I feel it all the time because I have a screw in my ankle. The air pressure changes and that old brake starts to throb. Emotional malunion is exactly the same. Do you have certain seasons or pressures that make you flare up? Maybe it's an anniversary of a loss, or maybe it's just seeing someone else get the very thing you were denied. If you find yourself reacting with intense pain to emotional weather that you thought you were over, that's a symptom. It's an ache that says the healing wasn't quite deep enough. Now let's look at the limited range of motion. This is the one that really hit me. And a hand that heals crooked can't stretch out all the way. It's stuck in this safe middle position. Is your heart stuck? Are there things that you've stopped reaching for? Maybe you've stopped reaching for deep, vulnerable friendships because the last time you did, it shattered. Or maybe you've stopped reaching for that big dream because the scar tissue of a past no is just too tight. If your world is getting smaller just to avoid pulling on old pain, your range of motion is limited. You are not fully healed. You are just guarded. Now there's the compensation, which I like to call the limp. When Bella's hand was hurt, she didn't stop playing. She just started using her other hand for everything. She compensated. We do this too. We limp through our lives. We become the strong friend who takes care of everyone else so that nobody notices we're the ones who are actually hurting. Or we bury ourselves in work or hobbies or even our kids' schedules so we don't have to acknowledge the part of us that isn't functioning right. Here's the hard truth. Bella was still doing cartwheels, but she was doing them in pain. Just because you're still doing the thing doesn't mean you aren't broken. It just means you're a really good performer. But friends, the Rāpā, our physician, doesn't want you to just perform. He doesn't want you to just get by with a limp and a weather ache. He wants to give you back your full range of motion. But to do that, we have to talk about the part that nobody likes. We have to talk about the reset. So here's the $1 million question. If we realize we have a malunion, if we recognize that our hearts have healed crooked, what do we do about it? In the medical world, if a bone heals wrong and it's causing pain or limiting motion, the doctor has to do a reset. And I don't know if you know what a reset is, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. A reset is a re-break, so they have to re-break it. Some of you may know that I have a broken finger, and it is crooked, and I never got it reset, so it's still broken, and it healed crooked. The surgeon has to go back in, break that crooked connection, and set it right so it can heal the way it was always intended to. That is the cost of the cure. It's the cost of being willing to feel the pain one more time so that you don't have to feel the ache for the rest of your life. For us, the reset looks like this. The cost of honesty. Finally taking off that oversized tennis elbow brace and admitting to a friend or a counselor, I'm actually not okay. And the cost of the vulnerability is letting the Rāpā, the physician, touch the places that are still tender instead of slapping a cartwheel mask over them. And the cost of time. It took me a month to realize Bella's hand was broken. It might take us years. The cost is the patience to stay in the binding while God does the slow work of mending the shards. I think back to that orthopedic doctor who made me feel like I was too late. If you feel that way today, if you've been walking around crooked for so long that it's just who you are, I want you to hear me. It is never too late for a reset. The great physician doesn't look at your x-ray and roll his eyes. He doesn't wonder why you waited. He just picks up the bandages and gets to work. But you have to be willing to pay the price of being still, being honest, and being brave enough to break the crooked way you've been living so he can give you a straight path forward. We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From tennis elbow braces and cartwheels to the deep restorative work of the Rāpā. If there's one thing I want you to take away from our time together today, it's this. Your malunion doesn't have to be your permanent story. Maybe you've been walking with an emotional limp for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to walk straight. Maybe you're so used to the weather ache of old triggers that you think it's just part of your personality. I want to tell you today that it's not. You were designed for full mobility. You were designed to reach, to hold, and to live without that restriction. The cost of the cure might feel high right now. The honesty, the reset, the vulnerability. But I promise you, the freedom on the other side is worth every bit of it. Before we go, I love to just say a prayer with you. Whether you're driving in your car, doing the dishes, or sitting on your porch, take a breath with me. Lord, I thank you that you are the great physician. Thank you that when we come to you, we don't ever have to worry about being too late or too much. You aren't overwhelmed by our history, and you aren't exhausted by our questions. You're simply there with infinite patience, ready to bind what has been shattered. I pray for my friend listening right now who feels like they've been walking around with a heart that didn't set right. I pray for the one who has been hiding their break behind a brace they made themselves. Would you give them the courage to sit in your presence long enough for the reset to happen? Soften the scar tissue, Lord. Give them back their range of motion. Help them to trust your hands as you bind up their wounds and lead them into a season of walking in full strength and peace again. In Jesus' name, amen. I want to thank you so much for joining me for episode 4. It's been such a joy to share this part of my journey and Bella's journey with you. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love to hear about it. You can find me on Instagram at Learning the Light Podcast or Facebook at Learning the Light Podcast. Send me a message. Let's keep learning the light together. I'll see you next time.